Hello everyone and welcome back to my Masterclass review. Today we're talking about Walter Mosley. Walter Mosley wrote the book Devil in a Blue Dress. Okay, so that was I think that was his first novel, and they turned it into a movie in which Denzel Washington starred in it. So maybe you saw the movie if you didn't read the book. But for many years I had no idea who Walter Mosley was as a writer. And with the masterclass that I took with Walter Mosley, I was able to really see what a wonderful person he is, and what a prolific writer he is in the way that he thinks, and how he views his writing career. He talked a lot about his past. His father told him that he couldn't be a writer, and he said, no, I am going to be a writer. And he decided to go on with his writing career. And once he sold his first book, and then they told him that they wanted more books, he told his father, and his father said, I knew you were going to be a writer. So it's kind of funny, things people say to you that may discourage you from doing and becoming who you want to be. So bottom line, don't listen to anybody. Do what you want to do. And the other thing is, it's never too late. It's never too late to do what you want to do. If you're just starting out writing now, at whatever age you are, do it. You're not too old, and you're not too young. It doesn't matter. Age is an illusion. We know that. And if you live long enough, you're going to get older. So life doesn't stop because you're a certain age. Life stops when you're dead. So as long as you're breathing, do what you want to do, and don't worry about people telling you that you can't do something. When people tell you can't do something, you better do that thing. That's when you know you better do it. So I wrote some notes about Walter Mosley in his masterclass, and some of the great takeaways is that he said, the more that you write, the more you get to know your inner self. So true. Since I've been taking the masterclass, I really have seen how my life has opened up, and I realized that life is a story. My life is a story. Your life is a story. Our lives are stories. And we decide what kind of story it's going to be. Is it going to be a love story? Is it going to be a horror story? Is it a tragedy? Is it a comedy? And that's how we live our lives. And once you get more into your writing, whether you're writing a journal, a diary, a nonfiction book, or a fiction book, the more you get into it, the more you're going to see the story in it, in your life. The more you're going to see that your life is a story. And as you wake up every day, you'll have more control over your life, over your emotions. You won't let outside environments dictate how you feel. How you feel is going to come from within instead of from outside, what's happening outside. And that's where you want to get to. You want to get to where you are in control. You're in control of what is going on, because where you are today, look around where you are today, look around. It's because of the decisions you've made in your life. I'm going to say that again. Where you are right now in your life is because of the decisions that you have made in your life. Every single decision is a step in a certain path that you're going to take, which is going to lead you to a certain place. But you got to be clear on where do you want to be. And a lot of times we allow other people to decide where we're going to be based on what they want, because they need you to get what they want. And that's what we want to break. We want to break that mold from allowing other people to decide what we're going to do. Hopefully what's going to happen is you're going to run into people in your life who want the same thing you want. And that's your circle. That's your circle. A lot of times we marry people, or we're in relationships with people who don't want the same thing. And as sad as it may be, that's not the person for you. That's not the relationship you should be in, because you're not going the same way. And then the other person tries to control the other person so that you're going the same way. And you might concede and say, okay, I'll do it because I love you. I'll go that way. And then you do it for 20 years, 30 years, and then you realize, I didn't want to be here. And you look around where you're at. And you're like, I don't want to be here washing dishes every day. This wasn't my dream. But it's where you're at because of the decisions that you make. It's pretty plain and simple as that. And that's what Walter Mosley is talking about when he's talking about writing. He's talking about making decisions for yourself. You're going to learn how to do that as you open up your world to writing. And the core of everything is that life started with the Word. In the Bible, the Word became flesh. Okay, let me say it again. I'm going to slow it down. The Word became flesh. Your mother and father had a conversation before you were born. Conversation probably went something like this. I don't want to get pregnant. Boom, they got pregnant. You're here. The Word became flesh. Even though they might have said they didn't want to become pregnant, they did. And you're here. Or it could have went like this. I really want to have a baby. Boom, you're here. The Word became flesh. Or it could have went something like this. I didn't even know I was pregnant. I didn't know she was pregnant. I never knew I had a son. See? The Word becomes flesh. It happens all kind of ways. All different kind of scenarios. That's why we got all different types of stories out here. And life is built on the Word. It's built on the story. Our lives are built on the story. No matter how long we live, there's a story. My mom had a daughter and she died right after birth. So that child was not able to tell her story. She didn't live long enough. But I'm telling you her story. She had a story. She had a story. She was born and she didn't fully develop. Her lungs didn't fully develop. And so she was unable to breathe and she died. And she didn't live long. It's a story. It's a short story, but it's a story. But that story also has a backstory because her conception and my mother's relationship with the father of that baby and all that, that's her backstory. All of her backstory. It exists. It's a story. It's a story of that child. We all have a story, no matter how long we live. We have a story, even if it's a short life, but it's a long life. We have a story. We have many stories the longer your life is. But some people might only want to tell the one story. Some people don't want their stories published. You can put it in a diary. You can put it in a journal because you have to get this out of here. You got to purge. I call it taking out the trash. I talked about that before in the other video. You got to take the trash out. We got a lot of stuff in here. You don't want that stuff just to pile up and pile up and pile up. And you're not dealing with it. So some stuff have to be purged out. You have to get rid of it. And getting rid of it is writing it down on paper, printing it. You got stuff in your computer and then you want to print it out. It's getting it out. This is a computer. It's a computer. We have to get stuff out. Don't let it pile. Especially, you don't want it to pile up in one category. You might say, oh, my life sucks. And you keep piling up. My life sucks. My life sucks. My life sucks. You keep piling up on that in that department. That room is full right now. Start deleting some of that stuff. Start getting some of that stuff out. Tell the story. Write it. Put it in your journal. Get it out. That's what you do with that. You can do some great things with it. You can put it in a book, and then people could learn from that story, no matter what it was that you went through. We see that every day. People tell stories to teach people Don't go down that way. I went down that road. Let me tell you what's down that road. You know, so Walter Mosley also talks about not being afraid to write a certain thing, because that's really what makes your story good. So say you had 3 children, and the first one you love, of course you adored the baby, but that middle one, you just don't like him. I don't like that middle one. Well, you don't want to tell the middle one that, right? But you can write it down in the story. That would make a really good story, you know. Write it. You know, write the story. Nobody is going to know that you're writing about them if you write a good, well-crafted characterization. Change the names. You're not going to know. Some people don't write stuff because they, oh, what if my mother reads it? Your mother is not going to recognize herself in the book. This is what Walter Mosley was saying. I love it. She's not. She's not even going to know it's her. You know, she's not going to read your book. And if she does read it, who cares? Write it anyway. It's your story to tell, how you want to tell it. And it is really so healthy for us to get things out. You don't want to keep things bottled up inside of you. It's really healthy to get those things out of you. And that is what Walter Mosley is talking about. Most of his talk is about writing from the soul. And one of his clear messages is that, one, nobody can teach you how to write. You know, I can't teach you how to write. But what we are going to learn is how you need to write. You need to write every day. You need to, because when you write, that's that muscle. And the more you write, you're going to start to find your voice. You're really going to start to hear your voice. And then other people, when they read your stuff, they're going to hear your voice. So what do I mean by voice? Voice is just like a singer. You know, you hear Whitney Houston song, and you know that's Whitney Houston because you know her voice. Or you hear Gladys Knight, and she's not singing a song that you know, but a different song, but you know it's Gladys Knight because it's her voice. You know, I remember it was this author, V.C. Andrews, loved her writing. She wrote the Heaven series and the Dollinger family series, but then she died. And then somebody in her family started writing her books. But those new novels, they don't have the same voice. At least for me, that's what I found. It wasn't the same voice. And I really couldn't read it anymore. The old stuff I could read because it had she put her stamp on it. You know, as they say, the secret sauce. It's you. You know, nobody can be you and do you. That's why it's always important to not to try to emulate, somebody that you know, celebrities and all that stuff. It's good for like skill building. But the truth of the matter is, whatever you do, it needs to be authentic. It needs to be authentically you. Your writing needs to be authentically you. Whatever you do. That's what makes it good, is what you put into it. You know, because each one of us is unique. There'll never be another you in the future or the past. They might look like you, talk like you, walk like you, but they're not you. Ever. So don't let anybody ever tell you that. I want to let you know that you can never be replaced. Ever. Even if somebody tells you, you know, like, especially like if you're in a relationship and that person tells you, oh, I replaced you. Got somebody better than you. They'll never be you. You are wonderfully and uniquely made. And you're special. But you got to learn that. You got to learn you're special. So let me go on and tell you some other things about what Walter Mosley said. He talked about writing the bad things, which is good, right? Write that bad stuff down. You know, you hate your neighbor, you want to kill your neighbors, put it in a book. Don't kill your neighbors. Put it in the book, and you know you'll see you have a really good story going on there, okay? And then you just build the plot and everything around it. We'll talk more about plot and all of that stuff too in some other master classes that some of the other authors got really into plot and stuff. But Walter Mosley's main thing was right from the soul. His main ideal he was trying to get across was write every day. His main idea he was trying to get across is that you are a writer. If you write, you are. And just do it. Just do the thing. And if you do it every day, you're going to have the novel, if that's what you're trying to write, your short story. And if you want to go into publishing, well, we get into all of that. This is a long series. We got a lot to talk about. So I will see you next time on the masterclass. And I hope you enjoyed this. And I want to hear some comments from you. I want to hear some comments so we can go further, because this is a two-way street here. As we're learning is always reciprocal. You tell me what you need, and we just keep going from there and go forward. So send me some messages, put it in the chat and put it in the comments, and we'll talk about that stuff, because it's so important for me to hear what you think. And I want to know, how's your writing coming along? Are you seeing that story in your life? And what is your story? Is it a romance? Is it a love story? Is it a tragedy? Is it a comedy? Is it a drama? What is your story? Your life story. What is that? Because that's what we're really working on. We're working on creating the best, wonderful life that you can possibly have and enjoying it. Because that's what we're here for. I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day.